The blade is cold against my throat. Queen Elara's hand is steady, her emerald eyes burning with something between rage and hunger. Behind her, guards fill the corridor, their armor catching the torchlight. My back presses against the stone wall of the king's private chambers, and I can smell her perfume, jasmine and iron mixing with my own fear.
You think I didn't know? Every midnight visit, every stolen hour, every mark he left on your skin.
My heart is racing, I can't breathe. She leans closer, her lips brushing my ear. The question isn't whether you've been warming the king's bed, stable boy. The question is why I let it continue for 6 months. The knife doesn't move. Neither do I, your majesty, SHH. Her free hand traces my jaw, gentle as a lover's touch. Did you really think he was the only one watching you? 6 months earlier, I was nobody. A stable hand from the lower districts, 17 and invisible. My mother died when I was 12. My father drank himself into the ground 2 years after that. I learned to survive by keeping my head down and my mouth shut. The palace was just a place where rich people lived and poor people served. I never imagined I'd end up in the king's bed. It happened during the summer festival. King Davion rode into the stables at midnight, drunk and furious after some political dinner. I was the only one there, mucking out stalls, trying to avoid going back to my empty room in the servants' quarters. He stumbled off his horse and I caught him. Just instinct, just bad luck. His weight crashed into me and we both went down, landing hard on the hay-strewn floor. For a moment we were just tangled together, breathing heavy, and then he looked at me. Really looked. His eyes were dark gray, storm-colored, and in that moment they were the saddest thing I'd ever seen. "You're not afraid of me," he said. I should have been. He was the king. He could have me killed for touching him without permission. "No, your majesty," I lied. He smiled. It was broken and beautiful. "Liar!" Then he kissed me. I should have pushed him away. Should have remembered that kings don't kiss stable boys except as a prelude to violence or cruelty. Should have protected myself. I didn't. I kissed him back like I was starving, and maybe I was. Maybe we both were. He came back the next night, and the night after that. Always after midnight, always alone, always looking for something I didn't understand how to give him, but tried anyway. He'd find me in the stables, or pull me into empty corridors, or summon me to his chambers through hidden passages I didn't know existed. "The queen doesn't care," he told me once, his fingers tangled in my hair, both of us pressed against the wall of some forgotten tower room. "Our marriage is political. She has her lovers, I have mine." I wanted to believe him. The sex was intense and desperate and often rough, but there were soft moments too. Times when he'd just hold me and talk about the weight of the crown, the loneliness of power, the cage he'd been born into. "You make me feel human," he whispered one night, his face buried in my neck. "With you, I'm just Davion, not the king, just a man." I fell in love with him somewhere between the second week and the second month. I knew it was stupid. Knew it would end badly. Knew that people like me don't get happy endings with people like him. I loved him anyway. The queen saw us in the 3rd month. I didn't know it at the time. Davion and I were in the royal gardens, hidden behind the hedge maze at dawn. He had me pressed against an oak tree, his mouth on mine, his hands everywhere. I heard a sound, footsteps on gravel, and froze. "Someone's there," I gasped. Davion pulled back, breathing hard, his eyes unfocused. "The guards won't say anything." But it wasn't a guard. I saw a flash of golden hair, the edge of a green dress disappearing around the hedge. My stomach dropped. "Davion, it's fine." He kissed me again, harder, like he was trying to erase my fear. "I told you, she doesn't care." But the way she looked at me during the state dinner that night told a different story. Queen Elara was breathtaking and terrifying in equal measure. 25 years old, brilliant, ambitious, and rumored to be more ruthless than her husband. She sat at the high table in a dress that looked like liquid emerald, her crown catching the candlelight, and when her eyes found me serving wine to the lower nobles, she smiled. It was not a kind smile. She summoned me the next morning, not to the throne room or her public chambers, but to her private solar, a small room with tall windows and silk curtains and too much sunlight. She dismissed her ladies-in-waiting with a wave and studied me like I was a puzzle she was trying to solve. "What's your name?" "Kael, your majesty." "Kael," she tasted it, rolling the syllables. "Pretty." The king has good taste, I'll give him that. My throat went dry. "I don't, please," she laughed, but it wasn't cruel, just knowing I've been watching you for weeks, the way you look at him, the way he looks at you. It's really quite romantic. She circled me slowly, her dress rustling. Here's what's going to happen, Kael. You're going to continue seeing my husband. You're going to make him happy. And in return, I'm going to make sure no one hurts you. Why? Because a happy king is an easy king to manage. She stopped in front of me, close enough that I could see flecks of gold in her green eyes. And because I find you fascinating. Her hand brushed my cheek. I jerked back. She smiled again. Don't worry, I'm patient. After that, everything changed. I was moved from the servants' quarters to a small but private room in the palace's west wing. My stable duties were reduced. I was given better clothes, better food, access to areas I'd never been allowed before. The other servants whispered. The guards smirked. Everyone knew what I was now, the king's whore. But Davion was gentler with me after that, like he was trying to make up for the labels people threw at me. He spent more time with me, talked more, shared more. He told me about his childhood, about the parents who'd trained him for the throne but never loved him, about the loneliness that had eaten at him his whole life. You saved me, he said one night, his head on my chest, both of us tangled in silk sheets in his private chambers. Before you, I was drowning. You gave me air. I held him tighter, trying to memorize the weight of him, the warmth. I'm not going anywhere. Promise, promise. I meant it. God help me, I meant it. The queen's obsession grew slowly, like poison seeping into water. At first, it was just looks. Long, assessing stares across rooms, then it was conversations, brief, polite, probing. She'd find me in the library or the gardens and ask me about my day, my thoughts, my feelings. Does he make you happy? She asked once, sitting beside me on a stone bench overlooking the palace fountains. Yes, would you die for him? The question caught me off guard. I don't know. You will. She stood, smoothing her dress. Eventually, loving a king means choosing whether to die for him or live for yourself. I hope you choose wisely. Then she left me there, heart pounding, wondering what she meant. The assassination attempt came in the 4th month. Davion and I were in his chambers when the window shattered. 3 masked figures poured through, blades flashing. I didn't think, just moved. I threw myself between Davion and the closest attacker, felt the knife meant for him slice across my shoulder instead. Pain exploded white-hot and blinding. The guards came then, flooding the room, cutting down the attackers. Someone was screaming. Maybe it was me. Davion caught me as I fell, his face bone-white with terror. Kael, no, stay with me. I'm okay, I gasped, even though blood was soaking through my shirt, warm and sticky. I'm okay. I wasn't okay. I woke up 2 days later in the royal physician's chambers with stitches across my shoulder and collarbone, bandages wrapped tight, and Queen Elara sitting beside my bed. You took a blade for him. Her voice was soft, almost wondering. You actually did it. Of course I did. My throat was raw. I love him. She was quiet for a long time, just watching me with those unreadable green eyes. Then she leaned forward and kissed my forehead, gentle as a benediction. That's when I knew, she whispered. That's when I decided you were mine too. After that, she wouldn't leave me alone. She visited me every day during my recovery, bringing books and food and conversation. She asked about my childhood, my dreams, my fears. She told me stories about court politics and noble intrigue that made my head spin. You're smarter than you pretend to be, she said once, studying me over a chess game she was teaching me. That's good, the smart ones survive. Survive what? The palace, power, love. She moved her queen, trapping my king. Checkmate. Davion visited too, but he was different now, quieter, haunted. He'd hold me carefully like I was made of glass and press his face into my hair. I almost lost you, he said over and over. I can't, Kael, I can't lose you. You won't. But something had shifted between us, some balance I didn't understand. The first time the queen kissed me, I was in the music room trying to teach myself piano. She appeared like a ghost, closing the door behind her, locking it with an audible click. My hands froze on the keys. Your Majesty, Elara, she crossed to me, her dress whispering. When we're alone, call me Elara. That's not appropriate. Neither is sleeping with my husband, but here we are. She sat beside me on the bench, her thigh pressing against mine. Play something. I don't really know how. Then I'll teach you. She reached around me, covering my hands with hers, guiding my fingers across the keys. The melody was simple and sad, some old folk song I half remembered from childhood. Her breath was warm against my neck. He doesn't appreciate you enough, she murmured. Davion, he takes and takes, but he doesn't see how rare you are. That's not true, isn't it? She turned my face toward hers, her grip firm. You gave yourself to him completely. Your body, your heart, your life. And what has he given you? Secret meetings and borrowed time and the label of whore. Tears burned my eyes. He loves me. I know he does. Her thumb brushed my cheekbone. But I would worship you. Then she kissed me. It was nothing like kissing Davion, where he was desperate and hungry, she was controlled and consuming. She kissed like a queen claiming territory, like she had all the time in the world and knew exactly how to use it. I should have pulled away. I didn't. I kissed her back, confused and guilty and dizzy, and when she finally released me, I couldn't breathe. Think about it, she said, standing smoothly, fixing her hair. You could have us both, him in the shadows, me in the light, a secret king and a public queen, and you the thing we both fight over. She left me there, shaking, the taste of her still on my lips. I didn't tell Davion. How could I? How do you tell the man you love that his wife kissed you and part of you liked it? That you're confused and scared and feel like you're being torn in two? But he knew something was wrong. You're different, he said one night, his hands on my face, searching my eyes. You're pulling away from me. I'm not. Don't lie, his voice cracked. Please, Kael, not you. Everyone else lies to me, but not you, so I told him. I told him everything, the visits, the conversations, the kiss. I watched his face go through shock, anger, hurt, and finally resignation. She's doing what I did, he said quietly. She's trying to keep you. I don't want her, Davion. I want you. Do you? He looked so tired suddenly, so much older than his 28 years. Or do you want the fantasy I gave you, the secret romance, the forbidden love? That's not fair. None of this is fair. He kissed me, soft and sad. I'm the king. I can't give you a real life. I can't marry you or acknowledge you or protect you from the people who want to use you to hurt me. All I can give you is stolen moments and danger. That's enough. It shouldn't be. He pressed his forehead to mine. You deserve better. You deserve everything. I deserve you. We made love that night like it was the last time, slow and desperate and aching. Afterward, tangled in his sheets, I felt like I was mourning something that hadn't died yet. The queen made her move 2 weeks later. A formal dinner, all the highest nobles present, and she announced her new personal secretary, a young man from the lower districts who'd proven himself loyal and trustworthy. Me. Davion's face went white across the banquet hall. I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. This is a great honor, Elara said, her hand on my shoulder in front of everyone, claiming me publicly. Kael has shown remarkable dedication and intelligence. He'll be assisting me with various administrative duties. The nobles whispered. The court buzzed. Everyone understood what it meant. The queen had just stolen the king's lover, and no one could say anything because officially, I was just a servant being promoted. Davion found me after the dinner, dragging me into an empty corridor, his hands shaking with rage. What did she offer you? Nothing. I didn't know she was going to. This is how she wins, Kael. She takes what I love and makes it hers. She's done it before with allies, with power, with everything I care about. I don't belong to her. Don't you? His laugh was bitter. She just claimed you in front of the entire court. She made you hers. And now if I try to see you, I'm not just breaking social convention. I'm publicly insulting my wife. I grabbed his face, forcing him to look at me. I'm still yours, always. Nothing changes that. Everything changes that. He kissed me one last time, hard and heartbroken. Then he let me go and walked away. I didn't see him alone for a month after that. Being the queen's secretary meant being near her constantly. She was brilliant and demanding and terrifying. She ran the kingdom's social infrastructure with ruthless efficiency, managed alliances and conflicts with surgical precision, and somehow found time to make my life a beautiful, confusing hell. Read this treaty proposal, she'd say, handing me documents. Tell me what you think. I'm not educated enough. Your instincts are better than most nobles' training. Read, she taught me politics and economics and history. She dressed me in better clothes, had my hair cut properly, made sure I ate at her table instead of with the servants. She was grooming me for something, but I didn't know what. And at night, she'd corner me in her chambers or mine, pressing me against walls or pulling me into her bed, kissing me until I forgot my own name. But I'll make you forget him eventually. I'll replace every memory he gave you with better ones, you'll see. I still loved Davion. I dreamed about him. I ached for him. But I was starting to crave her too, and that terrified me. The letters started in the second month of my new position. Davion would leave them in places only I would find, tucked into books in the library, slipped under my door, hidden in the music room. They were desperate and beautiful and heartbreaking. I miss you. I need you. I'm drowning without you. come to the East Tower tonight, please, I love you, only you. Always you? I went to him whenever I could, stealing away from the Queen's duties, risking everything for a few stolen hours. We'd collide in empty rooms and hidden passages, frantic and hungry, trying to pack a lifetime of love into moments. Leave with me, he said once, holding me after, both of us on the floor of some abandoned tower room. We'll run, leave the crown, leave everything, just you and me. You don't mean that. I do. His grip tightened. I'd give up everything for you, Kael, the throne, the kingdom, all of it. You'd hate me eventually, you'd resent what you gave up. Never, but I knew better. Davion was born to be king. Taking that from him would destroy him as surely as losing him was destroying me. So I kissed him and held him and broke both our hearts a little more. The Queen knew about the letters. Of course she did. She knew everything that happened in the palace. You're still seeing him? It wasn't a question. We were in her chambers late at night, reviewing some trade agreements that didn't matter nearly as much as the tension between us. Yes, and you're still in love with him. Yes, she set down her wine glass carefully. And me? I looked at her, really looked. At the woman who'd protected me and educated me and claimed me and tried so hard to make me love her back. I don't know, I said honestly. I don't know what I feel for you. Liar, but she said it gently, without anger. You feel everything for me, you're just afraid to admit it because then you'd have to choose. I already chose Davion. Did you? She moved closer, backing me against her desk. Then why do you let me kiss you? Why do you respond to my touch? Why do you look at me like you're starving? That's not... SHHH. Her fingers traced my jaw. It's all right to want us both. It's all right to be torn. It's all right to admit that love isn't simple or fair or pure. She kissed me then, slow and deep and consuming, and I let her. I kissed her back like I was confessing, like she could read all my secrets in the press of our mouths. When she pulled back, she smiled. There, was that so hard? I couldn't answer. My heart was racing, my head spinning, everything inside me screaming contradictions. I'm not asking you to stop loving him, Elara said softly. I'm asking you to let yourself love me too. The rebellion came in the 6th month, a faction of nobles who wanted to overthrow Davion and install his younger brother on the throne. They moved at night, coordinating across multiple fronts, striking at supply lines and guard posts, and finally the palace itself. I was with Elara when the alarm sounded. She moved like lightning, barking orders, coordinating defenses, every inch the warrior queen. Stay close to me, she commanded, and I did, following her through chaos and smoke and the clash of swords. We found Davion in the throne room, surrounded by his personal guard, bleeding from a cut across his ribs. Our eyes met across the room, and everything else fell away. Kael, then the rebels burst through the east doors, and everything was fire and violence and survival. I fought beside them both, Elara with her strategic brilliance, Davion with his warrior's courage. We held the throne room until reinforcements arrived, until the tide turned, until the rebellion broke against our defenses. When it was over, when the bodies were being cleared and the damage assessed, the three of us stood in the wreckage of the throne room, bloody and exhausted and alive. Elara looked at me, then at Davion, then back to me. I'm tired of pretending, she said. Elara, Davion started. No, she cut him off, her voice steady despite the exhaustion. I'm tired of pretending I don't know what you mean to each other. I'm tired of pretending I don't want him to. I'm tired of all the games and secrets and pain. She turned to me. Choose now, him or me. Because I can't keep sharing you in the shadows. I can't keep watching you tear yourself apart. My heart stopped. Davion's face went pale. Kael, you don't have to. Yes, he does. Elara's eyes were burning. We all need to stop pretending. So choose, Kael, the king or the queen, secret love or public power. Choose. I looked at Davion, the man who'd saved me from loneliness, who'd made me feel human, who I'd fallen in love with first. The man who could only offer me stolen moments and hidden affection. Then I looked at Elara, the woman who'd protected me, educated me, challenged me. The woman who wanted to give me everything except the one thing I truly wanted. And I realized something that made my chest tight and my eyes burn. I can't choose, I said, because I'm not choosing between you, I'm choosing myself. They both stared at me. I love you, Davion, I always will. You gave me everything I thought I wanted, but loving you is killing me. Living in the shadows, being your secret, knowing I can never really have you, it's destroying me piece by piece. Tears streamed down my face, but I didn't stop. And Elara, you've shown me what I could have. security, education, a real place in the world, but you want to own me, not love me. You want to win me from him like I'm a prize in some game you're playing. I stepped back from both of them. I'm leaving the palace and the court and both of you, because I deserve more than being someone's secret or someone's trophy. I deserve to be someone's choice, their only choice, their public choice. And neither of you can give me that. Kael, wait, Davion reached for me. Please, Elara's voice cracked. But I was already walking away, through the broken doors, down the corridor, away from the two people I loved and the life that was slowly killing me. I made it to the palace gates before Davion caught me. He grabbed my arm, spinning me around, his face desperate. Don't go, please. I'll make you my official consort. I'll acknowledge you publicly. I'll give up everything. You can't give up the throne, Davion. We both know that, and I can't ask you to. Then what do you want? I want to be loved by someone who isn't afraid to show it. I want a life that's mine, not borrowed. I want to stop being torn in two. I love you, I know. I touched his face one last time, memorizing him. But love isn't enough, not like this. I pulled away and kept walking. This time he let me go. I got as far as the lower city when Elara found me. She wasn't in her court dress anymore, just simple traveling clothes, her hair loose, no crown. She looked younger without all the trappings of queenship. Going far? She asked. As far as I can. Without money or supplies or protection, I'll manage, she sighed, sitting on the edge of the fountain in the town square. You're an idiot. Probably. You're also right. She looked up at me, and for the first time since I'd met her, she looked unsure. I was trying to own you, not because I don't love you, I do more than I thought possible, but because I'm so used to fighting for everything, I forgot how to just feel. Elara, let me finish. She stood, coming closer. Davion and I have been in a political marriage for 7 years. We care about each other, but we've never been in love. We had an arrangement, freedom on both sides, discretion always. Then you came along and ruined everything. Despite everything, I almost smiled. Sorry, don't be. She took my hands. You reminded us both what it feels like to actually want someone, to need someone. And we both handled it terribly. What are you saying? I'm saying come back not as a secret or a trophy, as, I don't know, we'll figure it out, the three of us. Together, that's insane. So is everything we've done for the last 6 months. She squeezed my hands. He loves you, I love you, and I think underneath all the pain and confusion, you love us both. So stop running from that and let us figure out how to make this work. People will talk, the court will never accept. Let them talk, I'm the queen, I'll make them accept it. Her smile was fierce and beautiful. Unless you don't want this, unless you really want to leave. I thought about Davion's desperate letters, his broken voice, the way he'd held me like I was his only real thing. I thought about Elara's steady strength, her brilliant mind, the way she'd challenged and protected me in equal measure. I thought about loving them both and being loved by them both and maybe, possibly, finding a way to make that enough. This is completely insane, I said. I know, it might not work, probably won't. The scandal will be massive. I'm counting on it. I looked at her, this impossible, infuriating, magnificent woman, and felt something crack open in my chest, something like hope. You're sure, both of you? We'll talk to him together, lay down ground rules, figure out how this works, but yes, I'm sure. I let her pull me into her arms, let myself breathe for what felt like the first time in months. Okay, I whispered. Okay, we'll try. The three of us met in the king's private study that night. Davion looked like he hadn't slept in days. Elara was still in her traveling clothes. I was somewhere between terrified and hopeful. So, Davion said, looking between us, Elara says you're willing to come back, that we're going to figure this out together. Yes, and you, he looked at his wife. You're really okay with this. I love him too, Davion. You don't get to be the only one. But she said it gently, without malice. Besides, we've been miserable fighting over him. Maybe we'd be happier sharing. This is unprecedented. Everything about this situation is unprecedented. She sat beside him, took his hand, then reached for mine. We're the king and queen. We make the rules, so let's make new ones. We talked for hours that night, about boundaries and expectations and how to navigate court politics and public perception. About jealousy and communication and the 1,000 ways this could go wrong. But underneath it all was something unexpected, understanding. Davion and Elara had been allies for years, partners in ruling. Now they were becoming something more, co-conspirators in love, united in the impossible project of making this work. We'll take it slow, Elara said finally. No announcements yet. But Kael moves back to the palace, resumes his position as my secretary, and Davion stops pretending he doesn't care about him. And private time? Davion asked, not looking at either of us. Scheduled, discussed. No more hiding or secrets. And you, I asked, what do you get out of this? Elara smiled, slow and dangerous. Both of you, eventually, when you're ready. Davion and I exchanged a look. The idea should have been strange, uncomfortable. Instead it felt right, like pieces finally fitting together. This is insane, Davion said. Completely, I agreed. Worth trying? Elara asked. We both nodded. The first months were awkward and strange and sometimes painful. We had to relearn how to be around each other. Davion had to accept Elara's presence in my life. Elara had to give Davion space for intimacy. I had to navigate between them without losing myself. But slowly, something shifted. Davion and Elara started spending more time together, not just for political necessity, but because they wanted to. They'd invite me to join them for dinner or strategy sessions or quiet evenings in the library. The three of us became a unit, a strange but functional family. The court noticed, of course. Rumors swirled. But Elara was brilliant at managing perception, framing my presence as professional necessity while making subtle adjustments to protocol that normalized it. And the private moments were incredible. Davion was softer now, less desperate, more present. Elara was gentler, more open, willing to be vulnerable. And I was finally able to breathe. 6 months into our arrangement, the three of us were in the royal gardens at sunset. Davion was reading reports, I was reviewing Elara's correspondence, and she was supposedly planning next week's schedule but was actually watching us both with that calculating look she got. What? I asked. Nothing, but she was smiling, just thinking how strange life is. Strange how? Davion looked up. A year ago, I was plotting how to manage you and this palace and keep my sanity. Now I'm in love with 2 men, one of whom is my husband, both of whom are completely exasperating, and somehow I've never been happier. Davion laughed. Exasperating? Devastatingly so? She stood, crossing to me, tilting my face up. But worth it. She kissed me, slow and sweet, and when she pulled back, Davion was watching with something like wonder. Come here, she said to him. He came, and she kissed him too, then put us both together, her hands on our faces, creating something new and strange and perfect. This is ours, she said. Whatever the world thinks, whatever they say, this is ours, all 3 of us, together. We stayed like that as the sun set, 3 broken people who'd somehow found a way to fit together, who'd turned scandal into love and secrets into something real. It wasn't perfect. We still fought and struggled and had moments of jealousy or fear, but it was ours, and finally that was enough. 2 years later, things had stabilized into a rhythm that almost looked normal. The court had mostly accepted the situation, though there were still whispers. Elara had maneuvered politically to make my position unassailable. Davion had become more confident as a king, strengthened by having both of us at his side. We'd moved into a shared suite of rooms, technically separate chambers for propriety, but with connecting doors that were never locked. We had routines now, morning strategy sessions, evening meals together, nights that rotated or combined depending on need and desire. I'd grown into my role as the Queen's secretary, but everyone knew it was more than that. I was advisor, confidant, partner, part of the ruling structure, if not officially. The eastern provinces are restless, I said one morning, reviewing reports. They're pushing back on the new tax reforms. We need to visit, Elara decided. A royal progress, show solidarity. All 3 of us? Davion asked. All 3 of us, she confirmed. Let them see that we're united. So we traveled east, the king and queen and their mysterious companion. We held audiences and feasts and listened to grievances. And slowly, carefully, we let people see the truth of what we were. Not scandal, not impropriety. Just 3 people who loved each other and were doing their best to rule well. The night before we were due to return to the capital, we stood on a balcony overlooking the eastern sea. The moon was full, the water silver, and Davion had his arm around me while Elara leaned against his other side. Do you ever regret it? I asked. That night in the throne room when I tried to leave. Every day, Davion said immediately, then he smiled. And not at all, you were right to try, you deserved better than what we were giving you. We were children playing at love, Elara added softly, hurting each other and calling it passion. You forced us to grow up. I didn't do anything. You demanded to be seen. She turned to face me fully. Not as a secret or a prize, but as a person. That's not nothing, Kael. That's everything. Davion pulled me closer, his lips against my temple. I love you. I've loved you since that first night in the stables when you looked at me like I was just a man, not the king, just Davion. My throat tightened. After 2 years, those words still destroyed me. And I love you too, Elara said, her hand finding mine, even though you're infuriating and stubborn and made me work for it. I made you work for it, she laughed. Fair point. We stood there as the moon rose higher, three people who shouldn't have worked but somehow did. And I realized something. I was happy. Genuinely, completely happy, not despite the complexity, because of it. But nothing good lasts forever. The poison came 3 months after we returned from the eastern provinces. A dinner with visiting dignitaries, expensive wine, multiple courses. Davion took the first sip, and I saw it immediately, the way his face went pale, the tremor in his hand as he set down the glass. Davion? Elara's voice was sharp with alarm. He tried to stand and collapsed instead. Everything after that was chaos. Guards flooding in, physicians running, Elara screaming orders while I dropped to my knees beside him, his head in my lap, his breathing shallow and labored. Stay with me, I begged, tears streaming down my face. Please, Davion, stay with me. His eyes found mine, glazed with pain but still focused. Love you, he gasped. Always loved you. Don't. My hands were shaking, useless. Don't talk like that, you're going to be fine. But he wasn't fine. The physicians worked through the night. Elara and I stayed beside him, holding his hands, whispering prayers and promises and pleas. The poison was sophisticated, designed to mimic natural illness, slow-acting enough that the assassin would be long gone. They caught him anyway. A servant, paid by rival nobles who wanted Davion's brother on the throne. Under torture, he confessed everything. It didn't matter. Davion was dying anyway. There's an antidote, the head physician told us grimly. But the ingredients are rare. It would take weeks to acquire them, and he has days at most. Then we have days, Elara said, her voice like iron despite the tears on her face. Send riders everywhere. Offer any price, find it. They tried. God, they tried. But on the third night, Davion's breathing became ragged. His fever spiked. The physicians quietly told us to say our goodbyes. Elara left us alone. I climbed into the bed beside him, careful of the tubes and bandages, and held him like I used to. He was so hot, burning up from the inside, and I was so cold. Remember that first night? I whispered. In the stables. You were drunk and sad, and I thought you were going to have me killed for touching you. His lips quirked. Barely. Best night of my life. Mine too. I pressed my face into his neck, breathing him in. You saved me, Davion. I was nobody, nothing, and you made me feel like I mattered. Always mattered. His hand found my hair, weak but there. My light, my only real thing. I love you. The words broke on a sob. I love you so much. More than anything, more than anyone. I know, his breathing hitched. Kael, promise me. Anything. Don't leave her, Elara. She needs you, and you need her. His eyes opened, unfocused but determined. Promise, I promise. Liar, but he smiled. You'll try, that's enough. He kissed me then, soft and sweet and final. I tasted salt, his tears or mine, I couldn't tell. Thank you, he breathed, for loving me. For making me human. Then his hand went slack in my hair, his breathing stopped. And the king, my love, my Davion was gone. I don't remember the funeral. Don't remember the 7 days of mourning or the elaborate ceremonies or the thousands of people who came to pay respects. I was there, dressed in black, standing beside Elara as she held herself together with pure force of will. But I wasn't present. I was drowning. The world moved around me like I was underwater. People spoke and I heard nothing. Time passed and I felt nothing. I existed in some gray space between alive and dead, where Davion's absence was the only real thing. Elara held the kingdom together. She managed the succession crisis. Davion had no heir, his brother was unsuitable, the nobles were circling like sharks. She negotiated and politicked and showed exactly why she'd always been the true power behind the throne. And at night she came to my room and held me while I broke apart. I can't do this, I sobbed into her shoulder. I can't breathe without him, I can't exist without him. You can, she whispered. You will, because he asked you to. Because I need you to. I loved him, I know, her voice cracked. I loved him too, not the way you did, but I loved him, and he's gone and we're still here and we have to keep going. I don't know how. Neither do I, she held me tighter. But we'll figure it out, together. The weeks after the funeral were a blur of political maneuvering. Elara declared herself regent until a proper succession could be established. It was unprecedented for a widowed queen to claim power, but she had enough support and enough ruthlessness to make it work. I was her shadow through all of it, her secretary, her advisor, her anchor. I watched her navigate the treacherous waters of court politics with a precision that was almost beautiful. She was magnificent, and I felt nothing. "You need to eat," she said one night, finding me in what had been Davion's study. I'd been sitting in his chair, surrounded by his things, breathing in the fading scent of him. "I'm not hungry. You haven't eaten in 2 days. I'm fine." "You're not fine." She knelt in front of me, her hands on my knees. "Kael, please, you're disappearing. I can see it. You're letting grief eat you alive, and I can't lose you too." "Maybe you should." My voice sounded dead even to my own ears. "Maybe I should go, leave the palace. You don't need me anymore." "Don't," her grip tightened. "Don't you dare. Davion made you promise." "Davion's dead." The words exploded out of me, raw and vicious. "He's dead and nothing matters, and I don't want to be here without him." Elara slapped me. Not hard, just enough to shock me out of the spiral. "He's dead," she said, her voice shaking. "And we're not, and you don't get to give up because that would mean everything we built, everything we survived, everything he fought for was for nothing." Tears streamed down her face now, the first I'd seen since the funeral. "I need you," she whispered. "I'm barely holding this kingdom together, and I'm doing it for him, for his memory, for the future he wanted. But I can't do it alone. I need you, Kael." "Please," I looked at her. This impossible woman who'd stolen me from Davion and then given me back, who'd challenged me and protected me and loved me in her own fierce way, and felt something crack open in my chest. Not healing. Not yet, but maybe the beginning of it. "Okay," I breathed. "Okay, I'll stay." She pulled me into her arms, and we held each other, two broken people trying to hold up a kingdom and each other. Slowly, painfully, I came back to life. Elara made me eat, made me sleep, made me participate in the running of the kingdom. She gave me responsibilities that forced me to think about something other than Davion's absence. And at night she'd come to my room, or I'd go to hers, and we'd lie together in the dark, not making love but just existing, breathing, surviving. "Tell me about him," she'd say sometimes. "Tell me something I didn't know," so I would. I'd tell her about the way Davion hummed when he was thinking, or how he always adjusted everyone else's papers to be perfectly aligned, or the fact that he was terrified of thunderstorms but tried to hide it. "He was terrible at chess," I said one night, staring at the ceiling. "You always beat him, but he kept playing because he was convinced he'd figure out your strategy eventually. He never would have." She smiled in the darkness. "I changed my strategy every game. That's cheating. That's winning." I laughed. It was small and broken, but it was a laugh. Elara turned to face me, her hand finding mine in the dark. "You're getting better. I don't want to get better. Getting better feels like forgetting him." "It's not." Her thumb brushed my knuckles. "It's honoring him by living the life he wanted for you, by being happy. By not drowning." "Were you ever in love with him?" I asked. "Really in love?" She was quiet for a long time. "No, I cared deeply for him, respected him, valued him, but the romantic love, that was never ours. We were partners, not lovers. Do you regret that?" "Sometimes, but mostly I'm grateful we found something that worked, and that he found you." She shifted closer. "He loved you more than anything, Kael. More than the throne, more than his own life. You gave him something I never could, the ability to be vulnerable and soft and human." "I miss him." The words came out choked. "Every day, every moment. I miss him so much it feels like dying." "I know." She held me while I cried the way she'd been doing for weeks. "But you're still here, still alive, and eventually that will be enough." 6 months after Davion's death, Elara formalized her position as ruling queen. It took monumental political maneuvering, threats, bribes, and sheer force of will, but she did it. The nobles recognized her authority. The people accepted her rule. She became queen regnant, the first in our kingdom's history. And she named me her royal consort. The announcement sent shockwaves through the court. A stable boy from the lower districts, elevated to the highest position in the kingdom beside the queen herself. It was unprecedented. Scandalous. Revolutionary. "They'll never accept it," I said when she told me her plan. "They already have." She smiled, that fierce, brilliant smile. "I've spent the last 6 months making you indispensable to this kingdom. The nobles know you." The people respect you, and I've made it clear that anyone who objects will face my displeasure. Elara, I'm not asking permission, Kael. I'm claiming what's mine, what should have always been ours. She took my hands. Davion loved you. I love you, and I'm done pretending otherwise. This isn't what I wanted, isn't it? Her eyes searched mine. You wanted to be someone's choice, their only choice, their public choice. Well, here I am choosing you, publicly, irrevocably. In front of the entire kingdom. My throat was tight. He should be here. He should, her voice softened. But he's not, and we are, and I think he'd want this, want us to be happy. Want us to build something beautiful from the ashes. She was right, I knew she was right, but accepting happiness without Davion felt like betrayal. I don't know if I can do this, I whispered. You don't have to know, she pulled me into her arms. You just have to try, one day at a time, one moment at a time, until eventually it doesn't hurt quite so much. The coronation ceremony for my new position was small and private. Just us and a handful of witnesses, speaking vows that bound me to her and the crown. I wore silver and gray, colors of mourning that I wasn't ready to set aside. Elara wore her crown and green silk, regal and beautiful and patient. When it was done, when I was officially royal consort, she kissed me in front of everyone. It was the first time we'd been publicly affectionate. The first time she'd claimed me not as a political move, but as a declaration of feeling. I love you, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear, and I'm done hiding it. She touched me like I was precious, like I might break. I held her like an anchor, like the only solid thing in my drowning world. And afterward, tangled in silk sheets in the royal chambers, she held me while I cried. I love you, I said through tears. I do, I love you, but I love him more, I'll always love him more. I know, she kissed my forehead. And that's okay, I'm not competing with a ghost, Kael, I'm just loving you however you'll let me. For however long you'll have me. Forever, I whispered. I promise, forever. Good, she smiled against my skin, because you're stuck with me now, consort. A year after Davion's death, I finally visited his tomb. It was in the royal crypt beneath the palace, a massive marble structure carved with his likeness. Elara had designed it, beautiful and grand and somehow still intimate. I stood before it for a long time, just looking at the stone face that bore only a passing resemblance to the man I'd loved. I'm sorry, I said finally. I'm sorry I couldn't save you, sorry I let you die, sorry I'm still here and you're not. The words echoed in the silence. I kept my promise, I didn't leave her. We're making it work. The kingdom is strong, Elara's an incredible queen, she's everything you said she was and more. My voice cracked. But I miss you every day, every moment. I miss your voice and your laugh and the way you held me like I was the only real thing in the world. I miss being loved by you. I pressed my hand to the cold marble. Elara loves me, and I love her, but it's different. With you, I felt like I was flying. With her, I feel like I'm building something. Both are good, both are real, but you were my first, my true love, and no one will ever replace that. Tears streamed down my face. Thank you, I whispered. For seeing me, for loving me, for making me believe I was worth something. You saved my life, Davion. In every way a person can be saved. I stood there until the candles burned low, saying goodbye to the man who'd made me and broken me and loved me more than I ever thought possible. When I finally left, Elara was waiting outside the crypt. She didn't ask what I'd said. Just took my hand and walked with me back to the palace, back to our chambers, back to the life we were building together. 5 years after Davion's death, the kingdom was thriving. Elara's rule was strong and just. We'd weathered political storms and assassination attempts and the constant pressure of court politics. Together, we'd built something that worked. And I had healed, not completely. I still thought of Davion every day, still missed him with an ache that never fully faded. But the grief had softened into something bearable, something I could carry without drowning. Elara and I were happy. We had our routines, our private jokes, our moments of tenderness and passion. We ruled together, advised together, lived together in a partnership that was both political and deeply personal. But I never forgot who I'd loved first. On the anniversary of Davion's death, I always spent the day at his tomb. Elara never questioned it, never asked to come with me. She understood that some grief was private, some love was sacred. This year, on that quiet day in the crypt, I finally felt ready to say what I'd needed to say for 5 years. I'm happy, I told the Marble King. I'm genuinely happy. Elara makes me laugh. She challenges me. She loves me in a way that's steady and strong and real, and I love her back. I touched the cold stone. But I need you to know I loved you more, I'll always love you more. You were my first love, my true love, the one who made me believe in love at all. What I have with Elara is beautiful and important and good, but what I had with you was transcendent. The tears came easier now, gentler. You asked me once if I'd die for you. I would have, without hesitation. And even though you're gone, even though I've built a life with someone else that hasn't changed, you'll always be the king of my heart, Davion, first, last. Always, I stayed there for hours, talking to him, remembering him, loving him across the veil of death. When I finally emerged, the sun was setting. Elara was in the gardens, reviewing reports. She looked up when I approached, her eyes searching my face. You okay? Yeah, I sat beside her, taking her hand. I'm okay. You were down there a long time. I needed to say goodbye again, properly. She squeezed my hand. Did it help? Yes. I looked at her. This magnificent, infuriating, wonderful woman who'd fought for me, protected me, loved me through the worst of my grief. I love you, Elara. I need you to know that. I love you. But you loved him more, she said softly, not a question, not an accusation, just truth. Yes, there was no point lying. I loved him more, I'll always love him more. And I'm sorry if that hurts you. It doesn't. She turned to face me fully. Kael, I've always known. From the first moment I saw you together, I knew what you had was something I could never replicate. I didn't fight for you because I thought I could replace him. I fought for you because I loved you too, and I wanted whatever piece of your heart you had left to give. You have more than a piece. I have what you're able to give, and it's enough. It's more than enough, she smiled, sad and beautiful. I don't need to be your first love, Kael. I'm happy being your last. I pulled her into my arms, holding her tight. She was right. Davion had been my first love, my great tragic romance, the one that had broken and remade me. But Elara was my choice, the person I woke up beside every morning, who I built a life with, who I'd chosen to keep choosing despite everything. Both were true, both were real, and finally I could live with that. 10 years after that first night in the stables, I stood in the throne room beside Queen Elara, watching her address the gathered nobles. I wore the silver circlet of royal consort. She wore her crown. Together we ruled a kingdom that was stronger and more prosperous than it had been in generations. The boy I'd been, the stable hand who'd thought himself nobody, wouldn't recognize the man I'd become. Confident, educated, powerful in my own right. But late at night, when Elara was asleep beside me and the palace was quiet, I'd sometimes slip out of bed and stand on our balcony, looking up at the stars. And I'd think of Davion, the king who'd seen me when I was invisible, who'd loved me when I thought I was unlovable, who'd given me everything and asked for nothing except that I stay alive, stay happy, stay present in the world. I kept my promise, I'd whisper to the night. I stayed, I'm happy, I'm loving her, I'm living. The stars never answered, but I felt him sometimes in the wind or the moonlight or the quiet moments between heartbeats, a presence, a memory. A love that death couldn't diminish. Elara was my present and my future, but Davion would always, always be my heart, and in the end that was the truth I'd learned to carry. That you can love more than one person in different ways for different reasons. That grief and joy can coexist. That moving forward doesn't mean forgetting. I had been the king's secret before I became the queen's obsession. But I loved the king more, and I always would. The end.